Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are Observant and we are live. Welcome to our free virtual EDU Summit. So our theme today is digital storytelling. And first of all, I would like to welcome our great speakers, trainers, and our CEO, Daniel Taylor. So hi, Dan. Hi, James. Hi, Nate.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Before we get into that, I would like to make sure you know about this great chance. So if you haven't tried Google Workspace for Education Plus, please contact myself or Dan, and we will prepare the trials for 60 days for you. And I think it's a great opportunity. Dan, would you like to mention anything about this possibility?
Yeah, just in case people don't know about it. Obviously, Google, most of you who are watching this have got the free version of Google Workspace, formerly G Suite, formerly Google Apps. And basically, the free version is good enough for a lot of schools. But if you get the premium version, which is Education Plus, you get a lot of really cool features, especially if you want to be ready for an uncertain future of teaching online. With Google Meet, you get breakout rooms, you get the ability to record your lessons. So a lot of cool stuff in Google Classroom as well. You can integrate your classroom with your student information system, and there's a bunch of add-ons from third-party developers that you can use directly in your class. Plus a lot of security and admin features for the admins out there. So, data regions, a bunch of other stuff. Really cool. If you just may be interested, just do a free trial. We can set you up like the same day, 60 days. If you're not interested, it just goes back to your regular version. So check it out. It's not for everyone, but if you want a lot of really cool extra features, it's definitely worth checking it out. And otherwise, I hope everyone. I won't be here for the whole presentation, so hope everyone has a great Christmas break. It's been great to. I haven't met many people in person this year, but a lot of virtual meetings. So I'm hoping we can meet in person next year. That's my big goal for 2022. Fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed. Thanks, Dan. I would like to also mention that we have great opportunity to run these summits for free, thanks to our great partner, Acer. So thanks to Acer, we are able to run it. We are also Chromebook users, Chromebook fans. So really, we highly recommend them. Just try them. Also would like to mention this point. So if you have any interest in this topic, please feel free to contact our great colleague, James. You can see his contact details. Then maybe, do you want to mention anything about this slide, or can we go to the next one?
Yeah, nothing from me.
Good. Thanks. Also, great opportunity for people to get the ISTE certification. Also, if you have an interest, contact us. We don't want to take your time now, because I can imagine you are ready for great presentations from James and Nate. So, just, I haven't introduced myself. I'm based in the Czech Republic. I am responsible for European region. Daniel Taylor is our CEO. He's based also in the Czech Republic in Prague. So he oversees everything from there. So, so Dan, would you like to mention anything else about your background?
No, not at all. Again, it'd be great to get into the sessions. Yeah, thanks again, Nate and James, for the session. Thanks, Veronica, for organizing, and let's get into it.
Perfect. So I think that we are ready. So Nate, thank you so much for joining us. We are looking forward to listening to your presentation. You will start, then James will continue, and then you will close the summit with the next presentation. So thank you so much, and go ahead.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you, Dan and Veronica. And yeah, lots of cool stuff going on with apps events and Acer and the other partners. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And as I do that, I'm going to wish I had my Chromebook again. I'm getting another one soon for sure. All right, and let me just kind of... Whoops, sorry, I just made a quick little error there. Hold on, we'll do that again.
Yeah, it was there and it isn't anymore.
Yeah, I've shared screen. I clicked stop sharing instead of hide. I'm one of those guys where I like to hide the little thing at the bottom there. Let me just kind of pull up. We'll start. All right. Well, first off, thanks again for having me. I'm going to talk about digital storytelling with Book Creator. What I love about Book Creator is it's so easy to use. And I'll go through a demo after I get through a few things in the beginning and show you a few examples. But it's very intuitive even for young kids. You can use Book Creator with iPads and tablets or your desktop. It's a really great tool for exploring creativity, and it's just fun. Like there's so much fun stuff you can do with it, and you can create magazines and simple books, or you name it. First, a little bit about myself. My name's Nate Gildart. I'm a diploma program history teacher and middle years program individuals and societies teacher. Now, I'm going to give you examples of Book Creator from my classes in a moment, but trust me, it doesn't matter what subject you teach, and it doesn't really matter what you do in a school. There is a place for Book Creator. I'm a department head as well, but I also do educational technology consulting. And if you can see by my t-shirt, I'm also a Book Creator ambassador. Later, Veronica is going to share with you the slide deck that I'm using. And at the very end of it, it shows you how you can become a Book Creator certified author. And then later on, once a year in the summer, they have an ambassador program where you can become an ambassador if you really get into it. It's quite cool. A lot of interesting people. You'll also find here, if you click the links when you get the deck, you can get in touch with me on my YouTube, Twitter, and my website called Social Studies Samurai. That's why the little samurai's there, and my training website. So you know what we're here for. We're talking about creating digital books, but you can create things like comics and portfolios and journals and recipe books. The only limit you have is your imagination, right? So we're going to focus on layout and aesthetics. We only have about 20 to 25 minutes, so I'm not going to talk a lot about pedagogy and methodology. You're teachers, you know what to do, right? But I am going to show you some features and samples and very quickly make a quick little book with you. And at the end of it, if you like Book Creator and you want to try it with all the free feature or full features, I should say, I'll get you to contact me on Twitter, and I would be more than happy to put you into a free book, and you can play around with it a little bit more and decide how deep you want to go. A couple of tips. If you go to create a book with Book Creator or any tool, actually, know your intention, right? Are you creating something for a lesson plan, for an activity? Is it for a unit? Is it an assessment? Or are you just making a book for your students to use, kind of like I did today in my classes? Plan ahead. I recommend you gather any resources that you have, type up all your text if it's text heavy. If you're going to use a quiz, and yes, you can embed lots of cool stuff in Book Creator, get a lot of stuff ready because it'll save you time when you go to make your book. But you can take your time and make a book slowly if you want. And I think you should kind of keep your brand in mind. If you're a teacher that's going to use Book Creator a lot with your classes, even creating your own books for learning, then maybe think about your own teacher brand. It's kind of cool when kids see it. They're kind of like, oh yeah, that's, my teacher so-and-so, right? Not a big deal, but something you might want to think about. So on the left side here, just features that you can use in Book Creator. Now, there is the free version, and then there's the paid version. Now, the biggest difference with the paid version really is having students able to, for you to be able to bring students into a library, and then you have control over what gets published and who collaborates with who and that kind of thing. But if your students were to create a Book Creator account, the free version actually has, most of the features, maybe 80 or 90% of the paid features. But if you really want collaboration and if you want to use it for assessment and that, Book Creator is not expensive. It's only about $120 a year, and they have programs, plans and accounts for schools and that kind of thing. So it's something really worth looking at. I highly recommend it. You can, have people co-creating. You can embed third-party tools like Flipgrid and Google Forms, like you name it. And I'll show you in a minute. You can publish privately, publicly. Again, like, only people with the link can view this and that kind of thing. You can make a whole pile of libraries for your classes. It's user-friendly. It's intuitive. We've, got kids in grade 3 using this on iPads. It's very cool. So I'm just going to pull this down, and I'm going to show you a few examples. before we get into a few more, things that you should know, let's show you what you can do. This is one that I've pushed out just recently. I like looking at the history of holidays and things like that. And hey, Gary from the Philippines. By the way, everybody, I got my phone going. Please type any comments in the chat or questions, or even better, if you've got examples of Book Creator or ways you use it, please share it with us, okay? But here's one that I kind of been pushing out recently, the story of Christmas. And so you notice here, I've got this image in particular is copyright free. So you can actually find most copyright free images from, for example, Wikimedia Commons or Unsplash, and you can just directly embed them. Yes, you can upload your own images, and you can embed videos as well. You can see that's a History Channel video. Now I'm going to flip ahead to this book. Note the little green thing there. I like to have little, hey, did you know, and that kind of thing. I've got a lot of tabs open here. Maybe that's why it's going a little bit slowly, but that's okay once I close this up. So you can see I've got my images in here. The reason they're not cited is because I got them copyright free, which is pretty cool. And then the citations are kind of automatic, but I do put my citations in the end, right? So always cite your work, right? What I wanted to show you here, though, is look at these different embedding things. Like I've got a history podcast embedded in there. Here I've got a Google Form escape room. And if I tap on it, I've got the choice. It's going to pop up in a moment here. And I've got the choice to, come on now, pop up for us. Okay, I've got too many tabs open, perhaps. Let's pull up on that one. What's going on here? Ah, there we go. So I can either, for example, play this game, which I made on Flippity, and I just embedded it by pasting the link. It was super simple. And if I want, I can open it in a new tab and then, kind of play it as well. But my point here is I've got, other links embedded. I've got a Kahoot game, Quizlet flashcards for Quizlet Live, a Google Form escape room, and a podcast. You can embed a whole pile of stuff. Now, I want to show you a few other ones just to show a few features. When you open a book, you're going to see how many reads there have been. So, for example, this is one from my other account. So I can see 23 people read this, and I didn't even push it out there. I made it public, but I haven't, publicized it, kind of thing. So you get that. If you're logged into your own account, it'll actually show you how many people have read your book. My last one with Halloween had something like 700 people read it within a week, which is cool. But here's another example of a book that it's a little bit more serious. It looks kind of like a coffee table book, but with a really, sad story, really, racial injustice. But my point is, the other book on Christmas, you can see that, let's close that tab. You can see that that was more playful and colorful, but this one is very serious topic. So I've chosen my style, right? And here's another one that I've used with students, the French Revolution. And I want to use this as an example of a lesson activity, right? This is where the students were trying to learn about, what was France like before the French Revolution, right? The decadence and opulence of the royal family, right? But what I also did, and I've got 360 images. Let's just go back there. Note here, these are not 360 images. I couldn't embed those, but I just put a link to some 360 images of the Palace of Versailles. So kids could scroll around in 360, even though the main tool is here in the book. I've linked it to other external sources. Now, for a history class, I had students with a separate worksheet working on this, and they were giving their ideas as to what they think they could learn about the French Revolution by looking at these primary sources, right? These are quotes about Louis. The next page has quotes about Marie Antoinette. And as you move on, I've got some cartoonish kind of stuff here, but I've got graphs and I've got a few maps in here. I'm not going to go through the whole book with you, but the whole point is I've got a really great mini unit. This probably only took us about 2 days to go through, but I built a really powerful lesson with Book Creator. Now my students, these students are not in grade 5. These books were made by grade 7 students, and they were working with elementary students for MYP Project Week. Why am I showing you this? Because it's an example of it's not just for the classroom. So our students, they created some activities for their MYP Project Week for the elementary students. And what they did is, as they did the events with them, they took photos and they took videos, and then they made books before the last day that they could share with the grade 5 students and say, hey, everyone, look at how much fun we had. Look what we did on that day. And this was made by a student in grade 7. She's in grade 8 now. And, you know, this was just a simple MP4 file that she embedded. Right now, you probably can't hear the audio there. I can't remember if I've clicked listen to the audio. But again, you know, you can celebrate school events and things like that, again, with Book Creator in a playful way. Now, here's one I did with our grade 12 students last year for our International Mindness event that we were doing. I mean, we do that all year long, but this was a focus thing. And the kids in grade 12 are from around the world. I teach at an international school. So what we did, and maybe if we could just, I'm not sure if you can hear the audio here, but take my word for it. Just wait for the audio to go here. So basically what we did is had the students in different languages take a proverb or something that they can learn, and they put it in Book Creator. We recorded their audio, they took a picture, and we created this book for elementary kids with proverbs and wisdom from all around the world. Now I'm going a little bit too long here. So I just want to highlight here that I've got a tutorial on how you can use Book Creator and just a few things you might want to think about as you make your books, right? Ethics and things like that. But we've got about 15 minutes left. So I want to jump into showing you about Book Creator. All right, the signing up is pretty straightforward. I do want to point out one thing in a slide here, though, actually, is that when you log in, there's a student sign in, and then you just have to click on teacher sign in. Just make sure you do that when you create your account. Now, up here in the top left, you see the little hamburger, right? When you actually log into Book Creator, it's going to take you to the library you last used. But if you click on the hamburger, then you've got you know, tutorials from Book Creator. You've got the Book Creator Certified Author training and the Discover tab. And here, you can look at different grade level books that are featured by Book Creator, but these are made by teachers around the world. If you scroll down, you can look even more by not just by grade level, but you can look at subject level. Social studies, for example. And I was really happy they featured one of my books here, Discoveries That Changed History. But all these books are made from teachers around the world. So there's some inspiration for you, or maybe there's something you can actually use in your class. So now let's actually start making a book. I will point out that there is an invite code. So if you want people collaborating, you can invite them into your book. They will have to create an account, but hey, that's all right. And so you got your little yellow button up here in the top right. And let's see, James is asking, how old are your EAL students? My students are all academic language learners. We're focusing on that. I teach in the high school, but we've got, or maybe that was a question for somebody else. Yeah, sorry, that was a question for from somebody else. But anyway, all right, so here we are. When you start a new book, you've got options. You can, if you want the comic features where the comics are already kind of set up for you, and you can put the comic panels in, you go down to the bottom, or you can choose from here. If you want something you want to look really good on, say, Instagram or on a smartphone, then you might want to choose square. You have templates here as well, and I want to point out you've got magazines and textbooks and newspapers. If you want your kids to make a class newspaper, way cool. I'm simply going to go with landscape, and I'm going to pop that open. And I'm going to show you how quickly I can put together a book. So first, I want to start with my cover. Now, here, the plus button, that's all you have to push. And then you get shapes that you can put in and speech bubbles, and then media. Import is when you're importing like Google Maps, or if you're importing Flipgrid or pictures or things like that. You can take a photo with yourself with your camera. I might do that in a minute. You can draw with a pen. This is where you're going to put in text. And yes, you can record your voice. But I'm going to start by importing an image. So if I want, I can search for an image. I'm going to show you a recent trip I went to Japan with. So if I click, I know that all of these are copyright free. So I don't have to worry about the citation. And just since we're here, I'll show you, yes, you can embed a Google map. You can upload PDF files if you want students to look at something else, you know, like another document. And that's where you would upload your images or other audio. You can connect to Google Drive. Yay, Google, it's got good stuff. And if you want to embed, this is where you can embed things as well. So I'm going to go over to files, actually. And let's see, I'm going to go with a recent trip to Kyoto. I'm going to start with Fushimi Inari, or maybe I'll go with my Nat Geo. I got a Nat Geo thing here somewhere. Oh, well, let's just go with this and choose, just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, want to look at one of the more famous things with Fushimi Inari. This is an amazing place. I'm getting a little bit anal retentive here. I think that's a pretty cool one. Yeah, let's start with that just for the sake of time here. Okay, so I'm uploading my file. It's just going to take a moment to upload. That usually happens, especially when your files are quite big. And so now I've got my image in here. Oh, but it doesn't cover everything. No fears, no fears. I'm just going to click and I'm going to stretch it. Note the little green thing here. If you want, you can tilt things. I'm going to Command Z and just kind of put that back. And I'm going to pull this down. And okay, now I've got that centered. You can see my pink lines there. And I don't want to mess this up, so I'm just going to right click and lock it. And so now I can do whatever I want, but I'm not gonna be moving it around. So let me put some text in here. All right, and I'm gonna put the Majesty of Kyoto. And I want to bold that word, so I can click on bold, and I'm gonna click done. Now that's not looking big enough. I don't really like that. Let's maybe put that in the middle. I'm gonna keep it justified to the right. When I want to change my text, this is what I do. I highlight this and then I go up here in the top right to the inspector. When I tap on that, that's where I can make my text a little bit bigger. Let's go with the Majesty of Kyoto. I'm going to change my color. Yeah, that definitely looks better with that orange background. Let's see. Do I want to change my font? Yeah, maybe let's go with, I like Open Sun, actually. I'm not going to change my font. I kind of prefer that one. Let's put a shadow on it just to make it stand out a little bit better. Here you can move things. If I have another image that I put over this and I want to bring it, the text on top of that image, I could just click on front and it's going to move things. So if I click on back, notice it went back, click on front and there it goes. For long text, if I want, I can actually create columns. That's not going to look good, obviously, with a title. So I'm going to take that out. I could justify this in the middle, but I'm going to keep it, justify it left or right, but I'm going to keep it kind of in the middle there and text kind of spread out a little bit. Let's see. I kind of like that. I'm going to leave it as it is. So I'm going to tap out and I'm just going to right click again and I'm going to lock it because I don't want to move that. Actually, let's unlock that and just see if it's, yeah, there we go. It's right in the middle. If I want to see how it looks, I can go up to my play button at any time. And yeah, maybe I'll play with that a little bit later. But I don't have another page yet. So let's go and put another quick page in there. And let's see. So let me click the plus button. Let me put another image in there just so it looks a little bit more consistent here. Let me scroll down and find another thing. Yeah, let's go right there. Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. In fact, I think that one looks, yeah, I kind of like the lantern hanging there. Yeah, let's go with that one. All right, so I'm going to put that in there. And let me see if I want to put in, yeah. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is show you the comic feature in a moment. Let's put this in. And I want to show you, you've seen how you can put text in and that kind of thing, but I want to show you the camera feature. Let me just lock this. And let's say I'm being a bit playful with my students, right? I'm going to go to the plus button and I'm going to hit the camera. And notice here I can either take a picture or I can record a video. So let's do the video. Countdown. Hello, everyone. I recently went to Kyoto and I had such a good time. I hope you enjoy this book and the activities in it because Kyoto is one of my favorite places in the world. So I'm going to stop that. I can play it and see how it looks. If I like it, I click Use Video. Now, remember, the longer the video is, the longer it's going to take for this to load. But for me, this would be a kind of a nice introduction, to say, hey, this is what the book's about. And you could do that with audio if you don't want your face in there. So let me see, just checking while that's loading. Really pleased and like your summits. Hey, yeah, I like the Apps Event Summits as well. James is asking what devices people have. Are you on tablets, iPads? What do you have? All right, so here's my intro to the book. I'm going to just kind of put it over here and I'm going to lock it. And let's say I want to put a little bit of text in there again. I'm going to put my trip to Kyoto was great. And I'm just going to put that in there for the sake of time. If it was a longer session, we'd have a little bit more stuff. But remember, let me take that out. I'm going to go to Inspector. I'm going to change the font color again. Maybe I'll make this one stand out a little bit more. Maybe bold it, make it a bit bigger. And now let's say I want to go to, Kyoto. Whoops, I didn't spell that properly though. Let's just fix that. And just for the sake of argument, for the purpose, I'm going to put a link in here just to show you that if I tap on this, if I tap and then maybe I just want to hyperlink the word, I can put that in there, click Save, click Done, and let me see how that looks. Again, I click my thing. Yeah, that's all right. I don't like the link colors, so I'd go back and change that. And I might want to put in like some kind of, audio or something. The record button works exactly like the video that I showed you, but let's put in maybe a shape here. Get a little bit playful. And I don't want to cover up my, my lantern there. I think that chochin looks pretty cool. Chochin is lantern in Japanese. Let me pull that down here. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put it right there. Okay, that means I've got to change my colors here. So let me go back to, whoops, not my border color. I can change my border color if I want though, but I want to get in with the text. Let me just, let me move that back for a minute there. Whoops. And I'm going to change that color to white. I'm looking at the time here, just thinking that James is going to be present for you in a minute. Okay. And so I'm going to tap on this and I'm going to move that to the back. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I have to make the color not white. Let's make it, maybe blue. All right, there we go. So let's say I'm finished my book, right? So I'm done with my book and I want to share it with the world. Well, right down here, you see the links. This is where you click to publish online, or you can collaborate. You can download your books as an ebook. If I click publish online, I can choose to make it private or public. I can allow people to make a copy of it by choosing allow remixes and on. I can give it a title and that kind of thing, and then just click publish online, right? I'm going to delete this later, so let me click on that. Yay, my book has been published. And so now I can copy the link really quickly, and I can always come back and stop publishing if I want. And all I have to do is share that link with people. If I click on here, this is where I can delete my book. You can actually take two books and combine them, two or more books and combine them, or that kind of thing. And this is where you would delete a book that you have. And here too is where you can change the title of the file. It doesn't change the name of the book, just the title of your file. Let me just look here and see if, yeah, I'm going to just show you one more feature here, folks, because I think this is a fun one that people like. So I clicked on new book. I'm going to choose the comic feature, and I'm going with landscape. So if you click on the plus button, down here, you're going to get these features, right? My little POW and things like that. But here's where I can put in panels, right? And the panels are already sized for you. They're already locked for you. If I click on that, I can search for images, and you're going to see how it nicely fits. That's a beautiful photo of that fan. Nicely fits in here. And then I can start adding my text, and it's already locked for me. I can unlock it. I can trash it. I can do whatever I want. Maybe I want to put a photo of myself in here. Yeah, I like that picture. It's wonderfully green. And so we're kind of getting down to time here. But if people have any kind of questions about book, oh well, maybe I'll show you one more feature. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to books that I have. Let's go with the MYP Project Week again, and look at this. I do want to show it's easy to navigate among pages. If I'm editing and I want to move things around, I can just kind of click and drag things. And, it just makes it kind of easier to do things. And I can always duplicate a page if I want, to use the same pattern or the same template or that kind of thing. So let me just kind of go back to my books here. All right, so that is Book Creator in a nutshell. The last thing I'm going to show you is when you have, this is like a full feature version here. This is where you get very simple toggles to invite people in and that kind of thing. And I will point out there is a very quick way to get people to join. If you want people to join a library where you have a book, it's just in your dashboard and you go down to the bottom. I do have a tutorial video for you in the slide deck that Veronica is going to share with you in a moment. But it is now James Abela's time, so you really want to hear him. He's got a lot of cool stuff going. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but please reach out to me at Nathan Gildart. And if you want to get a book with all the features for you to kind of try out, feel free to reach out, and I'm here to help you out.
Very nice, Nathan. Good features, and leads nicely into my session. Actually, leads very nicely. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Yeah, it's always, there's so much to show with Book Creator. In 30 minutes, it really is just kind of showing.
It's a bit of a taster, isn't it? Really, a bit of a
taster. Yeah. But I encourage everyone, please play with it. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much, Nate. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be looking forward to listening to your next session after James. And now it's time for James. So thank you, James. James prepared a really interesting session as well. I will be James, so I will be behind again.
Sure.
So if you need anything, let me know, and then I will share your screen now.
Great. Nate, can you keep an eye on the chat, because I think there's some great stuff going on behind the scenes, and do feel free to bring up anything that comes up as it comes up. And really, I'm looking at teaching vocabulary. I was due to teach in my school some vocabulary, and I was due to teach it, and I thought, okay, Q stage 2 to 5, and they said, well, actually, it's the year ones we really want to focus on teaching this vocabulary to. And so I went back to my primary training and to when I taught the year ones, and I went back and I had a look, and I thought, well, what are some of the really important points from this, and how can we really do this? So we are going to have a look, and we are going to build up how to teach vocabulary to year ones, year twos, but also to any students of a certain age. And I think it is so useful to go back to these things for EAL. I noticed, for example, that we've got some teachers on here who are coming from a part of the world in the Middle East, who might be speaking Persian, they might be speaking Arabic, and they don't share that Roman script. So there's a lot of useful points here to really help and help you understand what's going on. And so we're looking at teaching vocabulary to younger children. And I would say we're aiming this at the 4 to 7s, but anything you learn here will work with any age group. But really, the things you've got to be extra careful of when you're teaching younger students, or you're teaching students who are EAL. And I will stress that I used to be an EAL teacher. I've done my CELTA. I've published various research papers and everything. So before I became a computing teacher in a former life, this is what I did. And I've also recently made a piece of software called RDPT, which I'll give you a little bit of a taster on later. And so really, when we're starting with younger students, I noticed, Nate, there's a big selection of fonts in Book Creator. Bit of a test for you. For the younger students, which do you think is the best font?
Well, it's probably a trick question, but I would think the top one.
The top one, Sassoon. Yeah, it's fantastic. Sassoon is fantastic. However, for Chromebooks, that may not be there. So Patrick Hand is a fairly decent choice. When children are a little bit older, there are specific fonts for dyslexia, and they really help with things like the B's and D's. But for the younger children, we want something that really helps. So Sassoon is very good like that, and Patrick Hand also has it. So you can see both of those fonts there. And if you're using a Chromebook, Patrick Hand is no problem. Sassoon is one you will have to download. It's not necessarily standard on anything, but it's the one that uses, we have a Sassoon for infants and we have a Sassoon for things. There are lots of other good fonts, but once you have chosen a font for your young learners, you use one font for the whole year. Okay, this is not a pick random fonts. The children have enough trouble decoding at this age to recognize the letters without giving lots and lots and lots of different fonts. And so I would recommend You pick one font and you use it for everything you print, your Google Docs, everything. Try and keep it nice and clean and as close to that as possible. Now, today I'm using Keynote. I think Keynote is a very good choice, but let's have a look at some of the others in a minute. And so firstly, I would like to say, for younger learners, it's all about voice. It's all about recording. Everything that you put on the screen should be recorded. So it is so important for young learners to be able to hear the words. And I think this is just really important. And this is why I'm going to say something really controversial in a minute. Nate, are you ready for this? Are you ready for me to dish the dirt?
I'm ready.
Okay. So here are the possible apps. And I got to say, the popular choice, when I said, what should I teach with, is not a good choice for this. Now, Nate, because you are a volunteered, I want you to tell me which of each of these apps are. And I'm not going to embarrass you, but there's one app you definitely should recognize.
What app I'm like? Sorry, I got to take my glasses off.
Okay. Look, what apps are on
at the top,
here?
it looks like PowerPoint. Definitely
Correct.
at the bottom right is slides, and
Correct.
or bottom right is slides, and then to the left looks like Keynote, maybe.
Yep, that's Keynote. Correct.
Okay.
These are one.
All right, and the bottom one right there, that is Book Creator.
Okay.
I love it. I had to look. I gotta, you know, I wear the glasses for a reason, man.
You only talked about it for half an hour, you know, just making sure. And I will go through them and I'll just tell you which ones are good. And this is where it gets controversial. Okay. I'm not going to lie. PowerPoint has absolutely everything you need to do everything possible here. Okay. The only restriction is that you might need an Office 365 account. And so that's part of the deal. But PowerPoint works on most platforms, and it's the only one that actually I feel, I noticed some of our students have got Android tablets. So PowerPoint does have an Android app that's really, really good. And so that's what I would suggest is, if you're comfortable with it, carry on using it. Does everything you need. The next one, Slides. Slides is good for a lot, but and it is possible to use Slides, and you can put audio in, but it's quite a long and complicated process to put your audio in, because you have to upload the file, you have to put the file in, you have to do a bunch of extras. It isn't the best. Guess what I'm going to say is better if you're on a Chromebook than Slides for this.
Tell us what's better than Chromebooks and Slides.
Book Creator. For this particular purpose, Book Creator makes it so easy to record. It's a no-brainer, okay? However, if you are comfortable, the other one that I would say is going to deliver a fantastic experience for you if you have iPads or you have Apple computers is Keynote. And a lot of the younger children I speak to, it's iPads they have or iPhones, and Keynote is brilliant because it's local, it's dead easy to record, it's dead easy to put videos in, and that's why I'm using it today, okay? But there is nothing I'm going to do today that I could not do in Keynote. But the popular vote said Keynote, not PowerPoint today, and so I will take it. But also, I know a lot of younger children, they're using iPads because they are very good quality tablets. So that's where we're going today. But I would say, yes, you can do most of these things in Slides, but it's more difficult and it's not quite as good. Between PowerPoint and Keynote, I would say it's your preference. They're different names, you know, Magic Move is called Morph in PowerPoint. The icon's a little bit different, but that's about it. Book Creator is a completely different app, but I think for this one, it is, yes. I would say Keynote is better than Book Creator for iPads, and I'm going to show you why, okay? Because Book Creator creates books. We're going to see what Keynote does. Okay, so that's my honest advice, and I would just stress that Keynote is good because obviously it works with iPads. So looks like, Nate, have you noticed my visual choices up till now?
Yeah, lots of children.
You're not colorblind by chance, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. You noticed any colors recently?
Well, I noticed the last couple of slides, they were grayscale. Yep.
Yep. And that is because I'm building. So firstly, I've talked about sound, and you definitely should not be doing black and white when it comes to young children. It is so important to get these colors that stand out, because the children at a certain age, between 5 to 7 to 8, their colors are still being developed. So those really strong colors are so important. One of the major UK soft drinks companies learned this the difficult way, because they didn't understand that those strong primary colors would attract children. So they completely rebranded, made everything really strong colors, and did very, very well indeed. It's something that Coca-Cola has always known, with their lovely red and perfect timing with Christmas around the corner. A lot of people don't know this, but Santa Claus is a Coca-Cola creation. Certainly the big red jacket, etc., is all Coca-Cola's idea. And so when you are designing any slides for younger students, firstly, you've got to be using sound, you've got to be speaking. Secondly, you definitely need those strong primary colors, lots of cartoons and colors that really pop, like this image here. Okay, and this is a little bit more difficult sometimes to see, but it is so important to get things to move, to image. Now, I'm not sure if I shared sound or not. Did you hear anything, Nate?
No, can't.
No, I think that's a limitation here. But what happened there was I said star, and that went through. And so each time we click on something, you can actually hear it and see it. And important to get that movement going and that animation going. And again, I said spaceship, but again, I don't think that's coming through. And again, you can shake it, you can play with it, and you can make things land. Now, in a video like this, you may not see the details, but on an iPad, it is so much fun to be able to see what's going on, to click on things, to play them, to hear them, to see that movement that really attracts children. Now, this is where I go from just telling you about things to actually showing you how these work. Now, there is a bit of a limit on StreamYard, and I would stress that you may not be able to hear what's going on. I can hear it perfectly clearly, but because of the way the screen shared. So this here, if you just got it in the basic mode, you can just click on it, and a student will very quickly learn that icon means I can hear the word. And again, I'm using Sassoon here, so we can do it. So in this mode, it works like this, but just be aware in Keynote, it does disappear, and you have to do the clicks here. So let's go pick something just to get a quick demonstration. I'm going to pick a shape. I'm hoping I've got an animal. What animal do we have here? Any preference, Nate? Let's have a look. We want something. Ooh, yes, let's put a cockerel in there.
Yeah, cows are cool too, and they're nice and big and easy to see.
They are nice and big. And the only trouble with this is it's not very colorful, is it? Now, that means it's just going to be black and white. And I would say, I'm not sure this really represents it too. So I'm going to go with what Nate said, and let's find a cartoon of a cow.
Moo.
Ideally something that's not copyright. Hang on.
As he does that,
Wikimedia, always a winner. Wikimedia. Okay. Now I'm not publishing this, so hang on, let me just check. Wikimedia is always a good source because they are. I don't know how they managed it. I hope. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay. I'm having one of those days where it is not in the mood to. Now, I'm going to pop this in here. Okay, so I've got a cow. One of the things that, whether using PowerPoint or Keynote, is there is a quick way to get rid of any extras, and so that kind of helps. So I did an instant alpha there, and look at my nice big cow. Well, not quite to scale, perhaps a little bit too much there. Anyway, we're doing a live demo, so I'm sure you'll give me that. So I've got my cow here, and we want children to know it's a cow. We also would probably want the text there. So depending on the age of your children, you probably want them to be able to read that. One thing I'm not the best at when it comes to these things is making things big enough for the children to read. Now, my rule of thumb is 32 on dear old PowerPoint, but in I feel we need something a bit more. Okay, so nice strong color contrast. Very important you get that's contrast up there. And I'm going to get my points up a bit higher because I feel it needs to be a little bit taller than that. So what we can see is that, and what we want is we can do something. We want the cow to do something. It's very easy to animate. I'm going to add an effect. Let's add an action here, and let's move him. Okay, didn't really want him to move in that direction. And this would be the one time where live demos are dangerous because it's managed to move it off screen, which is not very helpful. Okay, that's not really where I wanted to go. One of the things I like is you can actually scale things. Now, I doubt I'm going to be able to get away with this in an effective way, but if you play it, you'll see. Now, we could make this a bit more realistically, but for children, I think it's just so important and nice to see that, and to see that animation going on. And that movement always attracts children. And then, of course, what we need to do is we need to teach the vocab, and to do that, we need to record audio. And this is really why I chose this. So I'm just going to say cow. What I love about Keynote, and this works in both the iPad version and the Mac version, is if I didn't do it quite perfect, well, firstly, I can chop it down to size, which is always nice. Okay, that's lovely. I can preview it. I can click done. I can insert it. Now, whatever you do, make sure you insert this thing very close to the object, because what we want to do is we would like to put these two together. Okay, so we've got our move and scale, and we would like the cow to be said at the same time. So what we have there is the build order, and now whenever that cow moves, it will say the cow. And that is just a really powerful way of bringing that vocabulary together, particularly for young children. They see things move, their attention is drawn to that, and they will straight away do it. But what we're doing here is whenever these objects here, you can copy, you can keep on repeating. So you only have to record it once, cow, and then you can put it into every single slideshow you ever make. And I think that's so powerful when we're looking at younger children, where we've got 100, 200 really key words that we need to keep on reigniting, replaying with, and re-changing and re-editing. And so that is really the power of this. So now we can have a look at this high quality slide that I've made in literally seconds, Nate. How long did it take me to do this?
Literally seconds.
Yeah. And so you've grabbed something that's really interesting, really fun, and you can now play with this. And what you're doing is creating assets. Now, I did use Wikimedia just now to make sure it was copyright free. I don't have to acknowledge that, but it is always good to do it. And you've got a certain amount of shapes if you want to draw things, but the shapes don't always reflect clearly enough what they need to be, because they're often oversimplified. But you've got all of these lovely shapes, colors, etc., which you can use. Plus, you can use any image you can copy and paste in there that you're legally allowed to use.
Can I ask you, James?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Donald. Go ahead.
Okay. By doing this, you're creating vocab lists, and those become the building blocks for your stories. So if I've got a story about a spaceship that lands on a farm, we keep on recycling and reusing this vocab, which is so powerful. Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, what are some of the topics and themes, with younger learners that you create, this kind of material for?
Yeah, I kind of stopped teaching them for a while, but yeah, it's farms, it's food, and the other wonderful thing is that you can take pictures around the classroom. You can teach so many things around here. You can even include things like QR codes, so the QR code can do. So you're not really limited in any way, but Keynote is such a powerhouse for this kind of thing. PowerPoint is a powerhouse. Book Creator, you can copy and paste and put things in. And if you've got a MacBook or a Windows PC, then you have everything you need to record these things and do these things. If you have students with really serious special needs, we often have to create these like very storybooks to show how you should behave each day. And these are the tools that make this very powerful. These days you have mobile phones, you can snap, take pictures of anything, and then put the word out each way. I had a student who was from Japan, and she found the difference between la and ra very difficult. Now, I don't want to say that 50 times a day. So I made a very small slide that said la and ra, and I actually made it in a tool called Scratch, so she had to guess. And I have to admit, she was a hardworking student. She spent a long time doing it, but by practicing and practicing, she eventually learned the differences between those two sounds, and she kept on doing it until she got it. Now, I, as a teacher, am patient, but I don't think I would have wanted to do it 50 times a day, which is what your younger learners need. They need that consolidation. And if they have something attractive, animated, in full color like this, they're much more likely to engage with it and play again. And yeah, you make a library of these things with all the keywords that children are going to learn in year one, and you can include it with the topics that they're doing. If they're an IB school, then the chances are that the teachers actually get to pick the topics. If you're British National Curriculum, the topics are chosen a little bit for you. But in each case, it's about constantly recycling that vocab. And as the children get older, it's about giving them good quality pronunciation and keep on practicing and improving that pronunciation and giving them a chance. I would say right up to the age of 10 or 11, they're very happy to have storybooks. And Book Creator, as you've noticed, goes from these very cartoony things right up to very serious historical topics, right, Nate?
Well, yeah, I know. I was just going to say, actually, something in secondary, I do find, and this is with people who are proficient speakers, of English, for example, grade 11, grade 12, they just don't know how to pronounce, names of places around the world that they don't, they've never been to, or it's in a language that they don't know, even Palace of Versailles, right? So, the names of people, right? So I think older students, it would be interesting to have a bank of, here are the names of the people and the places, like coup d'etat, right? Kids,
and it's always about this key vocabulary. And as children get older, they can use other tools. And one of the tools that I've made is something called RDPT. Now, this is still in beta. So when you do this, you will need to authorize an untrusted app. So if you look at this app here, we get a beta. And what this app does, and as I say, I just want to give you a quick demonstration today, is it allows you to see the difficulty guide. Now, for younger students, you should be picking the vocab. It should be the other way around. But if you see here, you see the vocab. But also, what we can do for the younger children is create a sheet with every single word in there and check that you are constantly recycling that vocabulary. So this will generate a spreadsheet for you here, which you'll be able to see very shortly. It is loading a little bit slowly today. And for younger children, it is just so important that every single one of these words is an important word. Now, for younger students, you should be deleting, keeping, and making sure you stick to the words that are there. But you can see what's going on here and looking at this. And for younger students, it should be those beginner or vocabulary words. And so this is another little tool that you can choose to check the complexity of your vocabulary. The website is here. Now, I think in the short time we have to do this, I'm not going to have time to show you it, but we have done a session on this before. And if not, please go to the RDPT website where you can quite happily watch the video tutorials there. Okay, all right, let me check. Yes, sure. The website is RDPT. It should be coming up as a thing, I hope. Hang on. Let me put it here just in case. So you can take your time and have a look at that. But it's just one of the tools that we're using. Okay. And all you have to do to download it is go open the beta. Okay. I'm not going to cut in too much to his time, but
You're
I see
okay.
Nate told me to do it. We'll do
You can cut into my time.
those.
That's totally fine. You've got plenty of time. We're good.
Okay. Make a copy. We're getting there. This is where my internet speed, trying to do videos and things on the internet. This is live, by the way. It's taken a bit longer than I'd like. You know, Google ought to be able to afford service for me and my special purposes here. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Okay. And here we are. Okay, so this is the tool, and it does take a few seconds for it to load. But really what I'm saying, for the younger students, this should be more about the specific vocabulary that we're teaching. Now, give it a second or two. Google is in a bit of a slow mood. I think trying to put video out at the same time and everything is a bit too much. But the along here, a menu should appear very shortly. All of the instructions are on the website, including a video tutorial or two. Okay, so a menu will appear where the help button is right now. And really, this is about you as a teacher. This is a teacher planning tool. Using the slides, using Book Creator and all of that is very much to help you. So you see the reading power tools now. And the only thing I really need to show you is the first time you load this document, you need to click on this. It's going to say running a script, but then it's going to say authorization required. You need to click continue. And this tool is still in beta, which means that it hasn't been verified by Google yet. So let's just click on that. And it's just going to do this. So you see, Google hasn't verified this up. If you looked very carefully here, you can see advanced. You click on that, and then you go to reading difficulty power tools, and then you're able to use these tools. And then you click allow. These are the tools I need to create the spreadsheets and everything. I don't take any data. It's all within Google's materials. Authorization successful. And now I can generate these tools. One of my favorite little tools is the word cloud. So we'll try that there and just have a look. And I think word cloud is really, really helpful with any document you happen to put in there, because you can just have a quick look. And I've always found this when I was an EAL teacher, a word cloud is so powerful just to get a rough idea as a teacher what you're about to teach and what the difficult words might be. But also it does deal with frequency there. And so that is the tool. And this, I know some of you are teaching slightly older students, so the difficulty guide is very useful. The difficulty guide, I think for most of you, you're teaching EAL students. So these are the proper EAL levels: beginner, elementary, intermediate, upper intermediate, difficult words. And they are mapped against the European Union system that's going on. And so you can see that vast majority of this beginner, but without any help, this would be quite tricky for 16 to 18-year-olds. things like these words here, merchantability, non-infringement, all words I absolutely need in there to be quite clear that I'm not providing you with any warranty, but would create challenge. If you're interested in linguistics, there's a little bit more details there. But really, it's about the reading time. And I would hope if you're teaching EAL students, you should be teaching most of the words to these levels here. Perhaps a few of these, perhaps a few difficult words, depending what's going on. And that allows you to really recycle your vocab. In your planning, you can create a sheet with low frequency. You can also highlight those low frequency words. And that's a great way to tell EAL students, I know this is a difficult word. You're going to have to guess this from the rest of the sentence, from the context. So I hope that has given you a little taster, and we shall put that up. Right, I'll stop my screen sharing and pass it back to Nate. Was there any questions pop up?
There was one a little bit earlier. Can I have a look here? I looked at Ida had Keynote is better than Book Creator for iPads. Wasn't really sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this purpose it is, but I think Book Creator creates books, whereas Keynote allows you to animate. And I think that was the key point I was trying to get across there, is that it's the animation that really interests the younger children. And that's something that Book Creator isn't specifically designed to do. Things like Magic Move and Morph are so powerful in Keynote and PowerPoint to really add to the interest. And I think that's the real benefit of those two. And that's the difficulty Slides has, is and Book Creator, because they're HTML5 apps, they're not really designed for full animation. If animation is super important, you're on a Chromebook, it takes a little bit more work, but I would recommend Scratch. It is leaning towards computer science, but in terms of being able to teach, it has the recording tools, it enables you to animate and do those things, and I think that's really powerful. But you have to put a bit more in as a teacher to do it. And the same with Slides. You can put audio in, but you have to put a little bit more effort. And that's really, Book Creator is good because you can record straight away, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's not designed as like an animation package. It is designed.
It is not designed.
But you can still make very attractive books and animate GIFs and things that pull attention, but it isn't quite that.
Yeah, it doesn't do the animation where things move across the screen, but you can put animated GIFs and things like that, which is relatively new, actually.
Yeah. It is relatively new to Book Creator, right?
Yep.
But you know, and I think with anything you have to find the right tool for the purpose, and I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad, Ida, you discovered about RDPT. It is very much aimed at EAL teachers, and when I discovered you were teaching EAL, that's why I put that in there, so that hopefully it can help. And as I say, I did create it, so if you've got suggestions, please let me know. The one thing I can't do is make it work for other languages, because I don't have enough knowledge of those other languages to do it. But if you do have the knowledge to categorize according to the European Union things, I'd be delighted to help you. It is open source. I'd be happy to show you where the code fits. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, James. I can see really nice comments. Everyone loves it. So thank you, James, again.
Thank you.
And now I think, Nate, are you ready for your next session?
Ready to rock and roll.
Thank you so much. And I am looking forward to listening in as well.
Wonderful. I'll just share my screen here. And let's see if we can figure out this this audio issue. Okay, so you know what I might do, because I want you to hear the audio. I'm going to jump in and out just a little bit, because it's kind of important for you to hear the audio here, everybody. But what we're going to do, though, is start with just my entire screen. And I'll just say, hi, everyone. I'm Nate, if you haven't seen me before, like 30 minutes ago. All right, so I'm not going to reintroduce myself, because I know we have, pretty much the same people here. But we are doing Adobe Spark. Every teacher, every student can create. And we're gonna focus on one out of 3 different features that Adobe Spark has. Let me just jump through this here, but Adobe Spark has 3 main features. Adobe Spark Post for graphic design, which you can use for your videos and your pages. Adobe Spark Page, which is like a basic website, and then Adobe Spark Video, which is simple video creation. And the simple is the reason why I get so excited about it. I like making videos in Adobe Premiere Pro, but for classes, I love using Spark Video. So today we're focusing just on Spark Video for easy video production. And I'm going to show you some real student examples. This slides deck Veronica is going to share with you later, so you can go into this. But as James and I were emphasizing earlier, include your citations and your credits, and think about your audience and your purpose and things like that. Very, very important. Adobe Spark does, much like what James was showing a moment ago with Keynote and I was showing with Book Creator, does have it links directly to copyright-free sources like Unsplash and Flickr and Wikimedia Commons. So take advantage of that. But anytime you don't use that, you upload a video you found on the net, be sure that it's copyright-free and make sure you cite it, as well as, in particular with video, stock video, right? So here we go, Adobe Spark Video, everyone. I'm going to jump out of here and I'm going to show you a few different examples of videos. On the left side here, the French Revolution. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'll show you student sample 1. And on the right side, I'll show you one I made for educators on active learning. And then I'm going to show you something I did for a shameless promotion of my Model United Nations Club. And then briefly, a more recent assignment that students just submitted about a month and a half ago. So let me just pop out of here. All right. And I am going to stop sharing my screen just so I can get back into the, so we can get the audio with what I want to show you here. So we're going to go to the Chrome tab. We're going to start with this political cartoon analysis. And I hope you should be able to hear the, audio. Now, what I'd like you to focus on as you look at this, listen to the background music as compared to the level of the narration, and then notice the transitions as they go through. So here's the first sample. We'll only watch about 20 or 30 seconds of it.
During the French Revolution, elites in other European countries did not want their people to do the same as France, so they tried to make it seem useless to revolt. This cartoon was drawn by James Gildart on December 21st, 1792, which was during the French Revolution. This cartoon uses the juxtaposition between the poor French and the rich English to show that.
Okay, I'm going to pop over to another tab here. But did you notice the transitions were really, really smooth? And I see Ida's saying our grade 10 is at the moment creating their first podcast in history class using Spark Video. Very, very cool. And feel free to throw other ideas in there. And let me just share another one here. Sorry, folks, we have to kind of share the screen this way if we want to get the audio. Notice that this one is just background music, but note that I've embedded video in this one. And again, we're having a little bit of trouble with how the sharing goes. But did you notice in that video, this one on Model United Nations, it's just a basic PR. I just took videos that I took on my phone during clubs and conferences that we did, and just quickly put together in literally about 10 minutes. The only time it really took me was to think about what words am I going to put in. The videos were pretty simple. And this was PR. We had our club fair where we were trying to recruit people for our club, and having a computer set up where students could look at that and kind of listen to that buildup of free, copyright-free background music. It was really, really quite effective. One more I'm going to show you with a student that did something on media literacy. It's kind of hard to hear the background music with this one. She could have brought the level up a little bit more, which is easy to do. But I do want you to notice, again, transitions. I might jump ahead a little bit in this one.
Friends, it's me again, Lily, and welcome back to my channel, Media Madness. Today, I'll be telling you all about using the media in a safe and productive way. Sometimes getting research and information, you'll know how to do it safely while getting the most credible and important data. The first thing I'm going to be talking to you guys about is media bias. Media bias is when journalism reporters will purposely make a...
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that one, and we're going to kind of pop into Adobe Spark and learn how to do things. But did you notice with that, there was a little bit of animation. It was pretty, how do I say it? It was, pretty smooth. The color coordinating and balancing, it was all done within Adobe Spark. And the biggest reason why I like Adobe Spark is that the students focus far more on, they spend more time doing their research and their note-taking, crafting their narration, giving each other feedback. And they don't spend 50 years trying to become the next George Lucas or Steven Spielberg, right? They spend less time on video production, and you're going to see why in just a moment. And they focus really on the heart of it, and that's the learning. Now, I do feel that, learning to design videos, that's an important skill. But we get into that towards the end of my year in grade 9, and I teach social studies, actually individuals and societies, it's called. But we use a lot of technology in the class, podcasting and video and that kind of thing. And Adobe Spark is a really good way to start. It's a nice, simple way to begin. It's great for EAL kids and even younger learners as well. So let's say you're logged in, and you'll notice I went to put on my Adobe Creative Educator t-shirt. At the end of the slide deck, it'll show you how you can do two things. Number one, go take free courses online from Adobe and National Geographic and get certified with Adobe. We won't have time for that today, but it's in the slide deck at the end. Have a look. So you've created an Adobe Spark account, which is free. The paid account, you do get more features, but trust me, the free account it's all you need. It really, really is. And it's all a student will need. And think, as I'm doing this, well, how can you use this in your class? I've created that video actually that you saw with the French Revolution. I created my own quick French Revolution political cartoon analysis video for my students so they could see an example of what they have to do, because I didn't have any student samples because I didn't do this last year with Adobe Spark. So just check the chat here. Adobe really does help with these things so they can share effectively. Yes, I agree. All right, so Adobe has just literally changed its interface in the last couple of days. So a little bit, some of this is slightly new to me, but very quickly. In the past, you would just kind of scroll across here and you would have your choice of creating a video, creating a web page called Spark Page, or a graphic. I'm noticing these are all graphics right here. So here is the plus button. If I tap on that, I can kind of look here, and no, that's not giving me what I want. I just had it open a moment ago. If I click on projects, I can, well, let me show you the dashboard here for a moment. These are all different projects that I've created. Note that you can create folders in here. So if you really get into using Spark quite a lot, then you can do that. So we're back in here. And okay, so now here you can see that I've got my list of things that I can do when I want to create, right? I can create custom graphics. I can create videos from scratch, by the way. You can create collages and flyers and all that, but we're focused on video today. So I'm going to choose video. And I'm going to give, it always asks you to create a title. So when I do this, I kind of like going into Napoleon because I don't teach Napoleon Bonaparte anymore. And I just think he's one of the weirder, quirkier people in world history. You have templates that are available to you. I always choose to start from scratch. I always encourage my students to do that. Let them kind of decide the creativity. It always takes a moment for the video to load, even Spark Post and Page. So always just wait. Adobe works in the cloud, so it is going to take a little bit longer because it's not, an app on your device. But the nice thing is it's in the cloud, so you can use it with, like a wide range of tools. And Adobe Spark does have a phone and a tablet app. All right, so here we are. First, I want to show you in the top right here, the 4 different tabs we have. We've got music, which is your background music. And I always instantly just bring this down. I toggle it. If you don't want background music, you can just toggle it off. Okay. But this is where you can kind of adjust your music a bit. The resizing if you're making something for Instagram or, you know, some kind of square, you know, view that you want, here you can change that here. I always go with widescreen because I put student work usually on YouTube. Now the theme, you don't have a lot of themes to choose from, which is again nice because students don't waste a lot of time trying to figure out, you know, their own design and that kind of thing. Mega, this is the one that you saw with the student a moment ago. The one I like the most actually is Elevate. So I'm going to click on that, and you can choose the color scheme. I'm gonna go with red. Actually, it's kind of Napoleonic, perhaps. And the next thing is your layout, right? So here I've got my layout. I always like to start with kind of a full screen, but you could start with a split screen. You could start with a caption or just title and text. But what I'm going to do is start with a full screen. And so I'm going to go here, and it's as simple as it looks. Hit the plus button. Plus buttons are good. Don't be afraid. You won't break anything. Now, if I wanted to start with some kind of background video playing, then I could do that with video. But I'm going to start with putting a photo in. And I want to put a photo in of Bonaparte. Now, you could upload your own photo, and then at the end, you can add your own credits, right? And then I can put additional images and things like that in there. I always require my students to put their images in. Let me tap out of that and come on back here. So you can add credits. Now, if you get images from within Adobe, usually they're going to put them at the bottom. They're going to cite it for you. So let me go back to photo, plus button photo. I'm not going to upload. I'm not going to take a photo of myself. Nobody needs that. I'm going to click Find Free Photos, but note that you can connect to Google Drive and Adobe Stock Photo. Creative Cloud, if you have an Adobe account in Creative Cloud, you can make your own images and then upload them. And I'm just going to type in Napoleon here. And Gary says, I like the first project with Adobe Spark. It's easy to use. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know what I'm looking for here, but you might want to play around a bit. This is the one that I like to use when I'm doing this little demo, full transparency. But this really stands out. So take time to kind of look through and use different keywords when you're searching. So now I've got this. I just have to wait for it to load. And I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to add my text. Now, I've got an edit button here. If I tap on that, I can zoom out a bit. Well, I can't zoom out because that's the size of it. But notice I'm zooming in. I can make it a little bit bigger. Whether it gets a lot bigger or not depends on the original size of the image. But now I'm going to put my text. So I just tap on my plus button. There are icons, by the way, that you can choose from if you want to put icons in your videos. Here, I'm just going to put the propaganda of Napoleon. And as we're doing this, try to think about, you know, how you might be able to use this. You're going to note too, okay, yes, you can click and drag text, but this automatically puts it in the middle. So I'm going to add my next slide. All right, so I've only got one, but I'm going to put in my very first image. We'll do the audio recording later. And keep in mind, students would have their research done. They would have their narration ready, that kind of thing. For this one, I think I'm going to go with a split screen. And I'm going to start with my photo on the left side here. So I'm going to click photo. And very conveniently, Napoleon is my most recent search as I'm logged in this time. So I'm going to choose this one of him going over, I think it was the Pyrenees, going over the Alps. And it's a nice color. It stands out. But right here is where I can put my text, right? I could put another photo in there, but it's limiting because I won't be able to put other text. But I'm just going to put, this did not happen quite the way it looks. So for me, if I was using this, I'm going to make this text a little bit bigger. I think that's about as big as it's going to get. Goes into the middle. Let's say this is a video I want students to look at and really understand the idea of propaganda and lies, right? The lies that we've been told throughout history. Now, I like this one. I'm going to keep it as it is. Now I'm going to add another one. And I'm going to go over here and just click my plus and notice that it puts things in nicely, right? So I'm going to go right back to my photos. Note I have a plan in my head. I'm going to put my photos in first, and then I'm going to go back. And I know here's the coronation of Josephine. I'll wait for that to load. And then I'm going to add some text to this one. I've got I want the full screen for this one. And, you can, again, do like the different, kind of styles, but it's the layouts, but it's limiting. But that's a good thing. Note, I really can't spend a lot of time making decisions on this, right? because I don't have a lot of options. Let's see. Some people here were not as they seem. ... And I think that's a little large, so I'm going to make that a little bit lower, smaller, that is. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to, whoops. I'm going to click and drag it and pull it down here. In fact, know what? I'm going to put it up higher because, and note how it gave that alignment for me, because I want to talk about people that are in this image. Now, this is what I want to, one thing I want to point out. I've made this image. When you record, it's better to record just little short sound bites. So for this one, I want to talk about a few different people in here. So what I'm going to do is mouse over down here and tap on the ellipse, and I'm going to choose duplicate. And I'm going to do that 2 times. And what that's going to do is allow me to record, but in smaller chunks that it's going to sound a little bit better. So now you notice we've got things here. Let's say I wanted to do this last. I can just click on one of my tiles and drag them here. If I want to rearrange and reorder things, even after I record my video, not a problem. But you know what? I'm going to start with this one. Okay, so I hope I'm not going too fast. Let's see, it has you covered for instant marketing. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on in the chat here, everybody, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to record here. Let's say I've created my my video. I've got it all prepared. So now I'm going to put my audio in. All I have to do is click and hold the microphone button and talk. And you know, this kind of earbud microphone is all you need. You don't need one of these things, right? I mean, they're great if you have it, but you don't need it. Now, what I recommend is you click, wait 1 second, do your talking, and then wait a second when you finish talking, and then release. So here we go. Oh, have to allow my microphone. Ha-ha! Napoleon Bonaparte, fascinating dictator in history, full of lies and propaganda. Okay, so now let me see how this sounds. You might actually let me unshare my tab later and we'll see how it sounds all together. But I do want to point out that if it doesn't work, I can just record it again. This is great for students recording not a 1-minute narration straight and they make mistakes, because we always make mistakes when we record our voices, right? So they can just click, record for 1 sentence or 2 sentences, and then stop. Great for EAL kids as well. All right, so let's go to my next one here. I want to record this one. Same technique. Wait a second and then talk. This famous painting by David has Napoleon riding a horse over the Alps into battle. The battle didn't happen, and he would have ridden a mule, not a horse. Horses don't go over mountains. Okay, so you notice it popped up and it said keep it short. So that might take a little time for it to load. Let me go over to my next one here. Same thing. Napoleon's mother, who's painted in the middle, just on the second level there, she wasn't there. They had a fight. She got mad and said, I'm not going. And so now I still want to use this, so I'm going to my next one. And I'm going to record. Yes, the Pope was there, but he didn't have his hand up like he was blessing this action. He was totally against it, but kind of had no choice but to be there. Okay, now I have a third one. Yeah, see how quickly this is going? Those are Napoleon's sisters holding the train of Josephine's dress, but they hated her guts. Why would they even want to be there? Anyway, there's lots of propaganda in this video or in this painting. I could go in and get more detail going and that kind of thing, but you get the idea. So what I want to do is show you how you preview it. But let me just so you can hear the audio, I want to stop this and then reshare my screen again. Sorry for doing this. It's not apps events. It's something within StreamYard. But hey, this is the way it goes, right? Let me go to Creative Cloud here. Okay, so let's preview and see how it goes. Napoleon Bonaparte, fascinating dictator in history, full of lies and propaganda. This famous painting by David has Napoleon riding a horse over the Alps into battle. The battle didn't happen, and he would have ridden a mule, not a horse. Horses. Okay, so you get the idea, right? You notice if I'm satisfied, I can click download and all that kind of stuff. I want to just double check and add any credits that I might have. Other credits will show up after you do the download. The one thing that stands out to me, I thought the background music was not so appropriate. So what I would do is probably scroll through the different kinds of music and choose something I like a bit more, and I'm going to pull it down. Now you can add your own music. I recommend going to the YouTube audio library. They've got some great instrumental background music that you could use. However, make sure you cite it. Make sure you cite the background music that you add, please. Lots of royalty-free music out there, but let's give credit to those creators. I play in a band and record music, actually. I'm a little sensitive about that. So you've made your video. You want to do something with it. First thing, if you click on the little human icon here, that means you can share it with somebody else and they can collaborate with you. So you can work in groups. The only problem is you cannot do it simultaneously. Keep that in mind. It's got to be one person working on it at a time. Secondly, if you want to share it, like many things, one thing actually, if you want to share it online with just a link, you have to click publish. And so if you click publish, then you can add a little bit more information and that kind of thing. You can pick your category. And then so I'll go with education. And then you click create link. And you got to wait a moment. It always takes time. Yes, one thing is for a video, you can't see it very well right here, but it's going to take a bit of time. Do not close your browser because it'll cut off the rendering of the video. Okay. Now we're not going to wait here for another minute for this to render and create the video. But what happens is you'll get a pop-up and it gives you options to share it on Microsoft Teams, Twitter, Facebook, Google Classroom, or you can just copy the link and you can get the embed as well. So, you have these different options that, show you how to share. Now, also, when you're done, you can click download. And this is what I get my students to do. I get them to download the MP4, they upload it to Google Classroom, and then I just watch their videos from there. And then I download them and pick a few, like the ones I showed you today that my students have made to enlighten the teachers around the world and make me feel good about myself as a teacher, of course. So this takes a bit of time, but remember, keep your browser open when the video renders, and then it'll download and publish for you. Now I see we're getting down on time here. One last thing I'm just going to show you. All right, so we're going to go right back to home. If you click on the Creative Cloud icon here, I'm going to click here, and I think you should be able. It seems like it's allowing to share this tab. That's kind of working now. Lovely. Oh yeah, because I'm in the same tab. Duh. Anyway, what I do want to point out is with your projects here. Let's say you're creating a video for your teacher channel, and it's a tutorial video on something. Why not brand yourself? And here you see YouTube thumbnail. This is Adobe Spark Post. If you tap on that, they already have it sized for a YouTube thumbnail. So you could actually upload, maybe even the same image if I want. For some reason, the Wi-Fi is going a bit crazy here, or maybe just a bit slow. Not sure. Let me close this tab here. But okay, so let's say if I just very quickly search photos again, I'm going to click on photos. And I'm going to search, and I'm going to find that exact same Napoleon photo. Yes, I got it. They did these upgrades and updates to Adobe Spark. So there. No, I don't want Adobe Spark. Let's see. Featured free. Nope. Don't want to search Adobe stock. No, don't want to go with that. It should allow you to search. Let's see what happens here. They've changed things a little bit. Maybe that's, yeah, they changed a bit of wording here. So yeah, I could scroll down, see they have even more images of Napoleon. But I would scroll and look for that one that I want, and then I would add my text. But my point is, in Adobe Spark, you can make your video, you can make your thumbnail for YouTube. And if you wanted to make a poster with a QR code on it to plaster all around the school, which my students have done, you can do that too. So essentially, that's Adobe Spark video. I wish we had more time because I love the tool, but we don't. So I'm going to hand it back over to Veronica. And let's see, I'm noticing with Spark, you can post it directly to Google Classroom. Yes, Ida, you can definitely post directly to Google Classroom. And again, you can share links and embed and download and upload to YouTube. It just Spark Video is great for storytelling, tutorials. Get your kids using Spark. It's really easy to use. I should leave it at that because it's 9. It's just hit the 30 mark. So Veronica, I'm going to hand it back to you. Feel free to reach out to me though, folks, at Nathan Gildart. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much, Nate. Thank you. And I will also post the presentation in the comments so everyone can use it, see it, and thank you so much. It should be there. Great. Thank you, James. Thank you, Nate. What I want to do, I want to close this summit. So thanks again to Acer, our great partner. We are able to run these summits for free thanks to our great partnership. Also would like to mention if someone wants to subscribe, watch, like, share our social media. We have a lot of podcasts, lots of videos. Also, don't forget to add like under this summit. So like a button, please, if you like it. And I believe you like it. Also, social media. And what to say now? It's December. I want to wish you really Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, a lot of health. I think it's important to have health and happiness, and especially in these days. So take care, and we are looking forward to meeting you again in 2022. We are planning a great free virtual summit in January, February, and I believe Nate and James will join us and present another great sessions with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, for joining, and for being with us.
Thank you so much for being a great host and having us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, James.